The book I chose to do for my free reading assignment was by John Calipari, who is, if you haven't heard of him, he's the coach at the University of Kentucky. He's also been an assistant coach at the University of Kansas, head coach at the University of Massachusetts, as well as a head coach at the University of Memphis. Now, in my discussion board, you may see a trailer that is a preview of the 30 for 30 that was covered on him by ESPN. If you have some spare time, I definitely recommend checking it out. Here's the book. Players First, Coaching from the Inside Out. Now, the reason I chose this book was because I think coaching has a lot to do and it's very relatable to teaching. And I definitely use sports and athletics as a way for me to mold myself as an individual. And I think a lot of people can take a page or two out of this book. And the way John Calipari approaches his players, it can be translated into the classroom as to how we approach our students. I'm a big fan of John Calipari. I think he does a lot for his players. I think he does a good job of setting them up for success. And he's a realist. He understands times are changing and he's able to adjust. And he coaches each and every player and team according to whatever they need to do to succeed. The same way that we need to do it in the classroom. You can't teach everybody the same. You have to meet students where they are. John Calipari does a great job of meeting players where they are and sets them straight and lets them know what they need to do to get onto the next level and to succeed further on in life. This is an autobiography, and there is no true kind of plot development. It's really John Calipari reflecting on his years as a coach, leading up, focusing on this time at the University of Kentucky, 2 years and specifically 2012 when they went to the national championship, and 2014 when they qualified for the Final Four. John Calipari does a great job of letting us into how what it takes to coach, the dynamic of coaching at an institution like Kentucky, the hatred that he does receive, how he's evolved from a player to a coach, a husband, a father, and just making sure that he's doing his best job to keep everything in perspective. With having the pressure of coaching at Kentucky, you have a lot of pressures from not only the institution but fans that are very diehard fans and passionate about the game of basketball. So he does a good job of letting us into those struggles and what he has to deal with on a daily basis. As you can imagine, coaching is a very competitive and stressful profession. It is a very great profession. Like John Calipari says, he puts it into perspective a lot of times, saying, I get to go to work in tennis shoes and in the gym. And I get to be on a private jet to go talk to people's families and let them know that I want their son to come play at my school. It's not bad. But whenever you're pressured to win, he says sometimes it becomes a little too overwhelming, and he's tried not to let it consume him. He mapped out in the book, and he touches on this. He writes out goals for himself that he wrote down when he was in college, and now that he still writes down goals to this day. And one of the goals that I really liked about him was that he wants to keep everything in perspective. He understands that losing a national championship is very tough. Not winning a national championship every year is obviously his main goal. I mean, winning a national championship every year is his main goal, and understanding that he has to lean on his faith and lean on his patience and his mentors is what he's done, what he did in the earlier chapters, talking about how he keeps basketball just a game and keeps reminding himself it's just a game and focuses on his family. Early on in the chapter, he mentioned how with his daughter, he had to cut a player, and his daughter was like, well, at least you don't have to talk about him anymore all the time. And at that moment, he realized, when my work life is coming into my home life, I need to reevaluate and restructure how I'm doing things. And that evolved him into the man that he is today and how he does coach. And he welcomes his players into his home. He wants to make sure that they're not only fed and taken care of, but he wants to let them know that it's a family. Their parents are sending them somewhere to compete and play at a high level, but also sometimes, they don't have, a lot of his players don't have father figures. So John Calipari takes it upon himself to be that father figure for these players. John Calipari is a hard worker. It's evident in success. You don't get to where he's at without working hard. And one of my favorite quotes out of the book, he says, you got to love the grind, embrace the work, embrace the sweat, and embrace the pain. If there's not something that's measurable, it's not real. That resonated with me. I have been in athletics since I can remember. I mean, shoot, since I was about 5 years old. And I still to this day use the lessons I've learned in athletics, enjoying the grind, waking up early, getting to class after being on a bus for countless hours and getting to my 8 a.m. class and understand I have to be invested in this and embrace it all. It's exciting. It's exciting because you then come out of everything stronger in the end. This quote really just set with me because I think it did a great job of lining out the entire book and how he embraces every single day, every practice, every meeting, every draft that he goes to, every time he goes to recruit. He embraces it all. This is him. This is what he loves to do. Like the title says, it's player first coaching. John Calipari does a great job of introducing us to players that we're familiar with from watching that aren't, let me say that aren't familiar with watching, but letting me into the more personal aspect of these players and dealing with their struggles and what they've had to do to overcome. And that theme was kind of throughout the book. So he touched on each and every team that he's had at Kentucky, as well as some of his former teams here and there, but mainly focusing on Kentucky. And he touches on key players that he really had to mentor, work with, and mold. And also he touches on players that have had extreme success, players like Anthony Davis, Marcus Teague, Michael Kidd Gilchrist, the Harrison twins, Andrew and Aaron Harrison, James Young, all players that are drafted and playing in the NBA. He touches on how he dealt with them and how he coached them and evolved them into becoming men that are not only set for the NBA, but also for life after the NBA. A quote that he said in Fail Fast was the name of this chapter that I'm about to bring this quote from. I love that idea, fail fast. Every team needs to be coached differently, just as in every individual needs something different from me. They needed to be challenged and to challenge each other. We've touched on this in class countless times. You have to meet students where they are. That quote right there is the epitome of that phrase. Meet students where they are. Every player is going to be different. Every student is going to be different. Not everybody's going to learn the same. There is no right way of teaching each and every year. Every year it's going to be a different classroom. You have different struggles with students. It's key for us as teachers and instructors to make sure that we're embracing them and understand that we have to meet them where they are. And like I said, that chapter was entitled Fail Fast. Fail fast. That's amazing because if you fail fast, get those hurdles off the way, understand what's in your way, the sky's the limit from there. It's really tough to condense this whole book into 8 minutes. It's so much good material in here. If you're a fan of sports, I highly recommend this book. If you're looking for motivation, if you're looking for leadership qualities or what it takes to lead, I recommend this book. I really think that a lot of the stuff that a coach does translates into teaching. As far as did I enjoy the book, I love the book. Like I said, I would recommend it to anybody. As far as changing anything about the book, I would have liked to hear more about his time at UMass and Memphis and him to talk about sanctions and all the negativity that comes along with him and go into more depth about that. But I understand that may have not been the book for him. There's other books that he has that I'm definitely going to look into checking out. So that would have been interesting just to hear him talk about those players and how he's addressed with the controversy that always seems to follow him, which you'll see through my trailer. And the assignment as a whole, I think was really good. It allowed me to, like we've talked about in class, diverge myself in something that I'm interested in reading. I think that free choice is definitely huge. And now this has inspired me to read another book and another book, another book. So just having that free choice, again, back to reading on a personal level, I think this assignment did a good job of kicking that off. As far as personal takeaways, I would say I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough. I look at John Calipari and I look at the struggles and what he's done, coming from a family of immigrants and how he's grinded his way to be at the pinnacle of college basketball coaching. He's in the Hall of Fame now. I look in the mirror and say, you know what, I got to do more. I got to grind more. I got to grind harder. I also coach myself, and I feel like I have to take it upon myself to be a player's first coach and make sure I'm making a personal connection with my players, just like John Calipari did. Overall, I love this assignment. It was really exciting to do. I finally fixed the way where I can record straight through, no more phones. I apologize for the last video. But overall, I really did love this assignment. It was really exciting. If I get a chance, I would definitely implement this in my classroom. Other than that, this is a great assignment. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'm out.